Welcome to 10 Minutes with Tony Scott. I'm Tony Scott. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. On today's show, we'll be joined with Bill Dahl from YHH Sports. We will talk a bit about his off-season leagues that are always well attended, and he will lend his very biased picks for this week's Scortacular. We did this last year, and we both went 1-1-1. This year, I'm taking him out. Speaking of Mr. Dahl, I'm going to pick his daughter's team, Sophia, to win the Duluth Icebreakers, Edina Green. They'll either knock off Andover or Roseau for the title. In the 10A field, I'm going to pick Andover to beat Stillwater for the championship. Coach Don Kaiser has the Huskies playing really well right now. Another big tourney this weekend is the Dick Johnson Pee Wee AA tourney in Roseau. Teams to Watch plans to make his return and write a full preview and predictions. I already know who he's going to pick, so I'm going to go with Osseo Maple Grove to win the very dicey D pool that has Moorhead, Duluth East, and Rosemount in it. The Crimson will go on to win the tourney over either Grand Forks or Blaine. We will now head into our interview with Bill Dahl and be back after that to wrap up the show. All right, now we're going to dig in and dive in and have some fun here with Bill Dahl. Last year we had Bill in studio. Actually, we were on the rink last year at YHH Sports. This week we're in studio. We're going to talk a little Scortacular, but before we get into Scortacular, let's talk about YHH Sports.
Let's do it.
And your leagues. Every year you advertise on our site to promote kids and teams to come and play in your leagues. What are some of the great things about playing in a league at YHH Sports?
Well, I think one of the things that we do and we do well is we're very family friendly. And what I mean by that is we're not playing games on Saturdays and Sundays in the summer, so teams can have those times to themselves for family stuff, cabins, things like that. And I really think that's been well received over the years, and we stick to that. And it's worked well.
My kids have played in your leagues, obviously. What part I liked best about it is the competitive balance. I mean, you never went there and blew someone out by 20, or never left getting blown out by 20. How did you figure that part out?
Well, I found out early we've got 2 sessions, and it's not just to kind of put a break in there. It's for me to reshuffle teams if needed, and it has allowed me to really keep that competitive balance. Early on, there might be some games that are a little out of whack, but that's how we figure out where do we tweak and how do we tweak. So it's worked well, and again, I get a lot of good feedback from that, because you really don't want to have teams stuck in the same spot all year, or I should say all season, and really makes for a long summer. And every time I think of summer when I was a kid, you want to have fun. And I think that's what ends up happening, is they really do have fun and they want to come back and play.
I call it the 30-60 rule. If you're below 30%, you're not having any fun. If you're way above 60%, it's probably you're out of your league in one way or the other.
Yeah, and that's what this is supposed to be about for kids. It's development, but they see it as fun. And it's games, there's no practices, and that's what they want to do. And you can see that now in the winter. The challenge is the practice. You really have to do the fundamentals, but it's the games they love to play.
Oh yeah, that's speaking of the games.
Yes.
Let's get right to it. Last year we split on our picks. If we went back and reviewed the film, I picked Osseo Maple Grove. I was right. You picked one of the Edina teams.
I did.
You picked your team to win. I picked against you. Foolish me. Because your team did win.
Yes,
congratulations.
We did. Thank you.
And I know I picked Minneapolis and you picked Edina, and I know neither one of those teams won the C's. So that was Minnetonka who won that. So we split. This year, I'm going to put the wood to you, and I'm going to win all 3 of them. I'm going to go 3 for 3 this
Bring
time.
It on.
So let's start with the Squirt A's. You're one of the assistant coaches for Edina Squirt A White,
or Squirt A White, yep.
So let's give me your resume. Why? Because you're going to pick them,
correct? Of course. Okay. Why wouldn't I?
You didn't pick against you last year. Why change it now?
You know what?
Why is Squirt A White going to win it this year?
Here's why. Well, first of all, let me say this: the field of this tournament is phenomenal. The way you have it set up. I'm excited to play. I wish I could play. Right. The kids are bubbling and talking about it, and so we're ready to get at it. And again, you've got the top teams in this tournament, and that's always fun. So here's why White's going to win. We're heating up. We're on a roll. Early on, I think we had some kids that were just getting their feet wet on A hockey, and now they're starting to get a groove. And that's what we're hitting. We're hitting a stride. So that's why I think we're going to win the hockey tournament.
Well, I think it's great. So the reason I like your team too. I mentioned it last week in 10 minutes that your pool is probably the toughest of the 8 pools. But at the same time, there's not a really, really super strong like an Andover or Osseo Maple Grove team. So it's a very winnable pool. And I think you guys have just as good a chance as winning as any of the 3 in your pool.
Well, and I think as coaches, we've talked about that and kind of impressed upon the kids to just play the way they've been playing. And the irony is, well, I think I mentioned this to you earlier in the week, we've had good success at Bloomington Ice Gardens this year. It kind of called our home away from home. We've had a couple of really big wins there in the 2 times we've played. So I think the kids are comfortable at that rink, which is good.
It's the neighboring rink.
Yeah, well, it's just down the street from us, but so they know they like playing there, and we're a talented group. We've got a great core of D, and I think we've kind of looked at our team from a defensive standpoint, and the great thing now is we're starting to fill the net with pucks, and so offensively we're getting that groove.
So the 2 guys that really stand out besides AJ, your son, is Whitliff Williams. Talk about those 2, maybe a couple other kids on the squad.
Well, I tell you what, Henry Whitliff is a very mature player for, I'm going to guess he's 11 years old. These kids are right in that ballpark. I had the chance to coach the D in a game just last week, and to watch him and to talk to him about some things on the ice. He was very mature in the way he handled the things I was telling him, and then how he was kind of coaching his partner on the ice. So it was fun to watch. And Austin Williams is just, he's a great player. He's a great 2-way player, crafty hands. He's got a great shot.
Is he playing forward or deep?
I've
seen him play both.
Well, he's been playing forward most of the year for us. And, we're doing a couple of little juggles to kind of try to find that right fix, and I think that's where we are. He is still playing forward, and he will play forward. And for the now, and I think for the rest of the season. But the great thing about it is he can play both ways, and he plays them both very well.
So I'm going to go with my pick. I've seen this team play a few times, Andover Huskies. They're #1 in the state. They're undefeated. They're a very polished, well-coached team. I think their 3rd line could be as good as their 1st line. He's one of those teams. They remind me a lot of the Osseo Maple Grove team last year and some of the Edina teams from a couple years ago. They're just so quick and so on top of the play. Got good goaltending. I'm going with Andover as the pick. Eventually, they're going to knock off and end the Osseo Maple Grove long winning streak in square days. So that's what I'm going with for that pick. Let's go to the Bees.
Yes.
I'm going to, again, speaking of Osseo Maple Grove, I'm going to go with the #1. I got to go with my top rankings, right? I have a formula for a reason, right? The formula says Osseo Maple Grove Gold is going to win it. They're in our tournament. Thank goodness. They're going to win the tournament. So I'm going to hand over to you. Who's going to win the Bees?
To me, it's...
And wait. Let me guess. Is it Edina?
It's an obvious pick. It's,
all right.
We're here to repeat.
Because
Edina Gray will be the team to win the Bees.
And that's another really good team, one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the state.
Great coaches, Jeff Sorum and Carl
Schneider.
Legend,
we have to call him the legend, Jeff
Sorum. Carl Schneider and Scott Sanderson. They're the great staff. They got some really good players. I know there's a kid on the team. I have not watched them play a lot. I have seen glimpses in the rink when I've been there. Henry Denault is a kid that I have.
Had him
last year. He's just a little workhorse. The kid works his tail off. He's a good little player, and I'm excited to see them repeat for the second.
It could be
spectacular.
Far be it from me. So I go Osseo Maple Grove Gold. You go Edina Gray as the Bees. Now, C's is fun. We're talking the biggest crapshoot ever. You never know what's going to happen. Last year, our championship game was probably one of the most exciting games I've ever participated in. Park Cottage Grove and Minnetonka. Minnetonka ended up winning in a shootout. I think it'll be a lot the same this year in the C's. We got a team from Hoffman Estates, Chicago coming in. We have a team from Kansas City Stars coming in. Again, those are real wild cards to this whole thing. So picking them is could be really smart or it could be really dumb at the same time. So I'm gonna stay close to home. I'm gonna go with my good friend John Montague's team and Cully Vaughn's team, Edina Black. That's what I'm picking. Who are you going with?
Interesting. Well, I'm going to take the other Edina team. I'm going to go green.
I kind of beat you to the punch on the Edina punch.
But, Clayton Wybe and Dan Marvin coached that team. And frankly, I know Clayton well. Good coaches. And I think at that level especially, that's one of the things that really gives those teams advantages is their coaching.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we got a shot with either of those teams. They've both done well already this season. I'm going with Black, you're going with White. You're going with green, excuse me.
Yes.
And so many colors. Can't
Well,
keep track of them all. It should be a really fun tournament. I can't wait to see all the Edina people out there and people from all over the state and all over the country coming in for the YHH Spectacular. Billy, thank you for coming in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
We're having a blast here with this show and having a blast having you part of our program.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill, for joining us this week. That was a lot of fun. This week's Tweet of the Week comes from another one of my favorite tweeters, Orono Pee-wee-A. During a hotly contested game with YZTA AA in which they tied 1-1, their tweeter posted after an unsuccessful power play by the Spartans, "Easily the ugliest power play we've had all year. The Wild would be proud." I love that one. This week's Now prospect is Sam Huff from Maple Grove. The 6-foot, 180-pound sophomore has 1 goal and 5 assists in his last 4 games. I had a chance to see Huff last summer at the U of M model camp, and he's a very impressive player. Boom Roasted. This week's Boom Roasted goes out to all the people who questioned our staff rankings at Pee-wee-A all season. All year we've had St. Paul in our top 10 despite carrying a losing record. Their record faltered due to some key injuries. Since being back 100%, the Capitals have reeled off wins against number 4 Orono, number 3 Alexandria, and now number 6 Matamidi, who just tied number 1 Edina, all in the past 10 days. We were feeling the heat there, but now the heat is on the doubters. Boom Roasted. Thumbs up. A huge thumbs up to all the people involved last Friday in Osseo. Osseo Maple Grove and Minneapolis staged a flash mob of sorts, recruiting 500 fans to attend a game between Osseo Maple Grove's U10B White and Minneapolis's Purple team. Minnesota Wild mascot Nordy was there and also was a crew of camera people planning to build a documentary of the evening. Avery Appleman of Osseo Maple Grove and Mike Sjogren from Minneapolis helped piece this event together. It was a wow moment for the game of hockey in Minnesota. We were thrilled to be part of it. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. We really appreciate all the positive feedback on our site. Have a nice day.